For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
She was robbed of undisclosed sum of money. But the robbers did not end there. They went on to discharge several rounds of ammunition at her while she was running away. And that's according to a police source. So this incident occurring just after 7 o'clock this morning. So it's not a case where crime will get very serious in St. Lucia. We are at the stage where it is definitely out of control. Now, let us also see what is happening with regard to NewsSpin. Mr. Producer, do we need to take a break or we can continue? We need to take a break. All right. The broadcast will continue in just a moment. You are watching should be taken to court. Legal action should be taken against this host, according to someone. Stay with us. Back in just a bit.
Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbuta at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
Contact Lucelec before trimming or cutting down trees that are near overhead electrical wires. Watch out for power lines before you begin working on a ladder. Be sure that ladders or scaffolds are far enough away so that you and the ends of the tools you're using don't come within 10 feet of power lines. And never use any electrical appliance in wet surrounding outdoors or in the rain.
This message is brought to you by Lucelec, the power of caring.
Night Meds is your dependable neighborhood pharmacy. You'll notice that upon entry, you are greeted by caring professional staff, attentive to your every need. Your prescriptions are always treated with a high degree of confidentiality, and we pride ourselves on providing speedy, efficient service. We carry a wide array commonly requested over-the-counter products, and our prices are very competitive. We offer blood pressure testing, blood sugar, and cholesterol testing. We're open to fill your prescriptions Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Come visit Sadu's gas station on the Miku Highway or call us at 572-6840 or WhatsApp 461-6840 for more information. Night Meds Pharmacy. We are your community med store.
The biggest party in sport is back for the 10th year of CPL. And the St. Lucia Kings want to go all the way this year. CPL will be bigger, better and louder than ever. And with the return of our very own Johnson Charles to the Kings team. The games are between 7th and 11th of September. Get your tickets now at cplt20.com or at the box office. Join the party. Experience cricket played louder.
Born from the same soil, growing stronger.
Raised of our own sweat and toil, doing it together.
All back for you and me,
taking us forward so proudly.
First National Bank, the best of who we are. First National Bank, together we'll go far. The pride of St. Lucia, here to stay.
Growing up, growing stronger, it's a First National way.
Every day we're making better, faster and smarter, convenience like no other. First National Bank, the best of who we are. First
Should I start from the beginning? Because somebody just told me, a number of people have been saying that we did not have audio on Facebook. I'd like to apologize for that. Those things do happen from time to time. So, should I repeat what I said at the commencement of our broadcast this afternoon? So, I don't want you to miss anything. So, let's go over. Welcome to another edition of NewsSpin for today, Friday. And we have a lot of issues to discuss. For example, someone wants legal action taken against the host of this broadcast. There's a development we must report on out of the passport office. We have the civil servant refrain coming up on this afternoon's NewsSpin program. And of course, I went on to the NewsSpin Facebook question of the day. Why are politicians fighting while people are being gunned down? I don't know if you would have heard the responses, but just in case you missed it or it was not going on the air, I will go through the responses again. So somebody says, they remember the question, the NewsSpin Facebook question of the day. Why are politicians fighting while people are being gunned down? So I'll go through the responses again in case they were not heard on the air. Tim, whenever SLP administration is in office, they have always fought among themselves and the opposition, but they fail to realize that all politicians have an expiry date, which is 5 years. Their leader said we have to protect our victory. That's another response to our question. Somebody also says, stop trying to be politically correct, Tim. The politicians who are fighting are the ones the people elected to govern this country. They did so consciously, so they're harvesting the crops from the seeds they cultivated. Another reaction or response to our question, the politicians have to fight each other to keep their jobs. They have to keep reminding us the others worse than them. If only they focus on the job they were elected to do, we would be in a better place. Another response to the question, everywhere is war. War in the streets, war up north, war down south, war in the house, war on social media. Another reaction, somebody says simply, politics before people. Another comment, because politicians don't love us. Some are the real cause of crime. Another comment, if the government themselves are at war with each other, what do you expect the poor black man to do? Than to be at war with one another. Charity begins at home. Remember once again, our NewsSpin Facebook question of the day. Why are politicians fighting while people are being gunned down? Somebody says, very long. Lucifer was the engineer of politics. He founded a system of power hustle. As a highly placed angel, he persuaded other angels to collude with him in an attempted coup. He appealed to them with propaganda and a promise of betterment. However, he was relegated to a lower status and has become the vilest of beings. Yet, he continues to fuel the same hunger in the belly of many humans, the hunger for power and the satanic desire to be seen as a god by the people shackle many hearts. These men yearn for the highest echelons in the society. To gain and retain those lofty places, they hustle and jostle. They lie and manipulate. They form dark alliances. They become cold and hardened, and in them resides no peace. No peace. They bandy words and launch pekong in the open. They secretly assemble to sip from the same chalice. Sometimes the fight is a show. It is very often a semblance of intense rivalry. It is a strategy used to enlist the ardent support of the feeble-minded, so that many may rally behind them. They play their divisive tunes, and the struggling, hopeless masses foolishly follow. The Pied Piper's method. These politicians have no heart, so they do not commiserate with the struggling masses. The many hurting mothers, the needy children, the helpless souls of this little land. They care not for the people. They are gleeful about the bloodshed. In some instances, underground research will reveal that many of these thugs have been coddled by some political figures. Keeping the people overwhelmed and defeated empowers these followers of Lucifer. Their burning desire is to gain and retain power and to be exalted over the people. By any means, they are not fighting each other. Same boss, same hunger, same mission. No, they are not at war with each other. We are. 2 more responses. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the most prepared government of them all? The SLP really fooled people with that one. The only people fighting are the ones who claimed they were the most readied government to lead St. Lucia. As for people getting gunned down, Tim, those fighting don't really care about that. And finally, they're setting the pace for light-minded people to follow. The quality of leadership is the quality of sheep. And those are some of your responses to our NewsSpin Facebook question of the day. Why are politicians fighting while people are being gunned down? Now, I suspect many of you either following the broadcast on TuneIn, also on Power 97.9, and also on our NewsSpin, on YouTube, probably would have heard the broadcast from the commencement. I think it's people on Facebook who did not get to follow. So let's continue. Now, as far as crime is concerned, last evening over in Rosal, just before 10 o'clock, according to a reliable source, a woman was shot in her buttocks during a drive-by shooting incident. Over in Formagé, that's in Marigot, a young man was fatally stabbed just after 11 p.m. And this morning, just after 7 o'clock in a section of Babonneau, according to my source, one woman was walking when 2 males accosted her and stole money from her, a quantity of money. And in the process, of course, she was trying to run away from the robbers, but they discharged several rounds of ammunition at her while she was fleeing. So that's the update that we have for you as far as crime is concerned in St. Lucia. You would recall this week, we reported on this heated, controversial exchange between the Minister with responsibility for tourism and MP for Castries South, Dr. Ernest Hilaire, and also the leader of the parliamentary opposition and Mico South MP, Mr. Alain Chastain. Claim was made by Mr. Alain Chastain, and this was refuted by Dr. Ernest Hilaire. The clip was played on the broadcast, and also I went on to say that those are serious allegations, and we need not give credence to it. We need not draw our own conclusions from the exchanges that were made during that sitting of the House of Assembly that was viewed on NTN, that was on the NTN website, and it would have been viewed not only by us in St. Lucia, but indeed around the world. So I was the one who was playing this for the very first time, and also I did not give credence to it. I didn't say, oh, it's true, it's way, etc., and jump to conclusion. Because there's something called parliamentary privilege, and maybe that should be revisited, where politicians can accuse of each other within the walls of Parliament, and it appears to be okay, because according to parliamentary privilege rules, in the course of your deliberations in Parliament, you can take certain actions and you can say certain things, and you will be receiving protection. And very often this is abused, much to the amazement of many people who are watching on television and watching these days, watching on social media, Facebook, etc., because no longer have a Radio St. Lucia to broadcast this. And who needs Radio St. Lucia when you have NTN, you have Facebook, etc.? And so as a result, somebody wrote on Facebook, the caption is, "Time to sue." You know, in this part of the world, in St. Lucia, very commonplace. Take legal action against people, try to muzzle them, silence them, instill fear. That is par for the course. It is meant to humiliate. It is not about refuting. It is not about us having a robust discussion. It is about people feeling that you're out to get them, you're out to sully their reputation. And so they will set out to make an example of you. And so you have people out there on social media who would be giving instruction to certain parliamentarians, saying, go out there, take legal action against this particular individual, etc., because what they're saying there is in breach of your rights, selling your reputation, your character, your good name, etc. So let me go through it because, again, it's all over social media. So it's not even news for most of you. Time to sue. Timothy Poleon is going too far. The $40,000 owed to Claudius Francis is in abeyance, but Timothy Poleon's head is hard. Today, in his eagerness to pin Ernest Hilaire to the wall, he broadcast an accusation made by his god, Alan Chastanet. Alan Chastanet was asked to withdraw or produce evidence of his substantiated of his, and that's what it is. I'm reading verbatim. Alan Chastanet was asked to withdraw or produce evidence of his substantiate his allegation. He promised to provide the speaker with the same. Timothy Poleon couldn't wait. He rebroadcast the accusation just to tarnish the name of Ernest Hilaire. Immediately after broadcasting the slander, Peter Chico called in. How convenient. Timothy Poleon, you are going too far now with your mischief. It's time for you to pay. Alan Chastanet must provide proof of his allegations, or else the Privileges Committee must deal with him most, I don't understand the other word, condemningly, whatever that means. I don't know. All right. So obviously the person is claiming that Timothy Poleon is in collusion with the former acting comptroller of customs, because it says there he rebroadcast the accusation just to tarnish the name of Ernest Hilaire. How am I setting to tarnish the reputation of Dr. Ernest Hilaire, or tarnish the name of Dr. Ernest Hilaire, when this whole thing was aired all over social media? It was aired all over NTN and all over their website as well. What damage did I cause to Dr. Ernest Hilaire, Dr. Hilaire's reputation or his good name as a result of playing this clip, where there was an exchange between the two individuals? One made the claim, one strongly refuted the claim. And also, the person goes on to say, immediately after broadcasting the slander, Peter Chico called in. How convenient. Did I ask Mr. Chico to call the broadcast? Before that, hours before that, did I call Mr. Chico and say, Mr. Chico, you must call at this particular juncture because I'll be playing this particular clip, and then let's have this thing in sync. You know, that's a lot of mischief, you know. And maybe that is what is being done by some people in our society, in our country, pretending to be all professional and neutral, etc. And when behind the scenes, because that's one thing we have to be afraid of, you know, complot. What happens behind the scenes? What is being discussed before certain engagements in our country? I would like to assure you that I engage in no kind of collusion, not with any member of the opposition or members of the opposition, government, or anyone in this society. Because I want NewsSpin, as it has always been from 2002, to be as authentic as possible. There's one particular occasion when Rick called, I think it was this week, and I immediately stopped and I said, Rick, hold on. People will think that we planned this, but here is a clip of Dr. Kenny Anthony speaking on a particular matter that you are addressing right now. That's what good radio, that's what good journalism, That's what good television is all about. Being authentic, spur of the moment, things not being planned, not being boring, etc. So, to the ordinary folk, it would seem as if, boy, you planned this, boy, you planned this with Chico. I did not plan anything with Chico. So the person going to say, you are going too far now with your mischief. It's time for you to pay. Well, read this, was on social media, thought I was making it a part of the broadcast. But I never set out to deliberately tarnish the reputation of individuals. Those are elephants. I'm just a dwarf reporting on what the elephants are doing in this country. So let's move on. At the passport office, what is taking place there? Moon. People are trying to either renew their passports or they're trying to get new passports. And as you're aware, it has been failure over the last few weeks. The authorities did not see this coming. They did not envisage it, and therefore did not plan. They did not plan for the fallout. Well, my information is that several employees of the passport office did not report to work this morning, adding insult to injury. The situation is being exacerbated. Why they did not report for work today, I don't know. But I could only guess. I don't know if somebody will suggest I should take legal action should be taken against me for that. But the employees there are overwhelmed. They need a break. And just who knows, again, I don't know, they might be back on Monday of next week to continue their duties. My information is about 80% of the staff refrained from coming to work, and so the department is relying on skeletal staff to assist people who need their passports for travel this weekend only. So if you need your passports this weekend only, you'll be facilitated. Skeletal staff is on duty at the passport office to facilitate you. Let me hear from you right now at 452-2979, and that's 452-2979, along with your WhatsApp calls and messages at 716-2026, as you continue to watch and listen to NewsSpin, and we focus on the various issues and matters of concern to you. As always, we do not limit you to any particular issue. We have a range of other matters to focus on during the course of our broadcast. The renaming of a section of the John Compton Highway. I'll be going through this as well. But we have a call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air.
Good afternoon, Tim. How are you doing?
I'm okay, caller. Good afternoon to you.
Tim, you shall not be silent. I mean, I listened to the program yesterday, and in no way or shape or form you attempted to sully the name of Dr. Ernest.
Okay, caller, are you an attorney? Because I don't want you to defend me. I need lawyers to defend me. I don't need NewsSpin followers and NewsSpin fans to defend me in that way.
No. Tim, listen. I have been following NewsSpin for over 20 years now, right? And I know of your professionalism, and hence the reason why I'm putting it out there. I'm not defending you. I'm defending the integrity of NewsSpin. And I know you're professional, you're a two-time journalist of the year, and you perform your duties professionally. So I'm just putting it out there. But Tim, the bigger question is, where are we going? Where are we 1 year later as a country? Here it is that the passport office, office is on skeleton staff, the workers there. Some of them put down their tools. Yesterday we heard of the correctional officers at Bordelais. They put down their tools, they're on strike. So you have the passport office on strike, you have the Bordelais correctional officers on strike, and the country is on autopilot. There's total chaos. Where is the, and both, by the way, Tim, you would know that both departments are being run by the Ministry of Home Affairs. So that shows you the incompetence of the Minister of Home Affairs. Where where are we going? This country, St. Lucia, which we all love, is in total chaos and crisis. Where is the leadership team? This country, St. Lucia, is run right now, in my view, on autopilot. The government of the St. Lucia Labour Party does not seem to have the country head in the right direction. Everything is, look, we're understanding things that there's no medicines at the various health centers or at the hospitals. People who are diabetic cannot even get the medication on time. We have a situation where there's a shortage of sugar, a basic commodity like sugar. People cannot get access to sugar, and the government doesn't seem to care. No accounting, government ministers traveling all over the place at the expense of the taxpayer. They come back to the country, no reporting. It's total contempt and disrespect by this SLP administration team. We are in serious trouble. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. All right, let me see if I have any of your WhatsApp messages to go through. Okay, people earlier on were complaining with regard to the technical quality, but I think that this has been rectified already. Somebody says that, Tim, our sweet Helen is bleeding while the politicians go on with their everyday lives. In this, how are they putting people first? Shaking my head. Because the evidence is there. And I predicted on Monday that come Tuesday, during the sitting of the House of Assembly, that most of the speakers will focus on things that are not relevant to the people of the country during that debate on the special counsel bill. Okay, and that's exactly what transpired. Special prosecutor bill. This is exactly what transpired. They cannot help themselves, but focusing on, I went through this and this individual. Judge Judy will normally say, or the judges will say, do not address the defendant, do not address the accused, etc. Address the court. And also in parliamentary matters, you'd hear, do not address the MP, address the Speaker. That's why you hear Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker. So during those proceedings, I would love for parliamentarians not to lose focus, but stress on the fact that you have a number of issues that are impacting the people, and in particular, the nation's worsening crime problem. So while you're in parliament, let's say somebody's been shot in the buttock. Of what relevance if you were to be speaking about another MP on the opposition benches or on the government side? Take, for example, somebody being fatally stabbed over in Fromage Marigot. Why focus on Alain Chasney, or focus on Kenny Anthony, or focus on Philip J. Pierre? Of what relevance is what you're talking about in the parliament when it has nothing to do with what is impacting people on the ground? 7 o'clock this morning, a female walking on the road in a section of Babonneau, accosted by two robbers, robbed, gunshots fired after her, etc. A few hours later, the House would meet, and you expect that woman to be so concerned about what you're saying about Philip J. Pierre, what you're saying about Bradley, what you're saying about Ernest Hilaire. You are just not putting priority and focus on the right issues, those issues that are of relevance to the ordinary folks, those people who elected you into office, to focus on things that are mirroring their lives in the society. That's why a lot of young people are just not interested in politics, no matter how you talk about the youth economy. If every speech you give, you make reference to, yes, a little over 1 year ago, the people reposed their confidence in us. How long do you think this will continue in terms of people just focusing on your victory as opposed to focusing on your performance? If you go to a job interview and you are hired, what happens a few months after the probationary period? You think the probationary period lasts forever? A year later, people expect that you would be so comfortable in the job that you perform at a satisfactory level. Not even 1 year later, 3 months, the probationary period. We have a call. Good afternoon. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air.
Good afternoon, Mr. Poleon.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
I must add my voice to your comment a while ago about the debate with regards to the special prosecutor's bill. I wasn't able to get all of it from the lower house, but I listened to a good portion of the upper house. And I must say, the former member for Supra, I think, did a wonderful job juxtaposing the special prosecutor bill with the Constitution, where it spoke of the Crown prosecutor.
Somebody told me today that I made reference to Section 73 of the Constitution.
Yes, where it speaks about
the DPP.
The DPP, which is the Crown prosecutor, and of course, how that would affect his powers vis-a-vis the powers that are given to the special prosecutor. I am not too sure, but I'm wondering as well whether that was the situation that existed when we had the impact report.
Mm-hmm.
Because to me, we had essentially special persons who were to investigate. And, of course, the final result was there were issues with whether those people actually had the power to do what they were doing, etc. These were actually some of the issues that came up. But I think he did a very good job expounding at least what he understood it to be, because, of course, he may be erroneous in one part or another. He's not a trained attorney. But for the layman, and him assessing it as a layman, showing or telling what he understands it to be, and how there may be such a conflict. And I think it's something that is interesting to look at. In St. Lucia, as opposed to America, we do not have what you call a Supreme Court, which is a court that deals with the Constitution and how any other law would be affected by the Constitution, whether the law can actually stand or whether it has to be struck down. So I don't know how that will play out. It's interesting to watch. Also, I'm still waiting on a verdict, Mr. Poleon, with regards to the Deputy Speaker not being appointed.
Mm-hmm.
Up to now.
Yeah, that's still in abeyance.
No verdict. And these are the type of things we need as we progress as a nation, as we update our laws, so that we continue to make the correct steps in the correct direction. Because if we cannot get that yet, because to me, if you're saying that you must have a deputy appointed, can the House business not go on if, let's say, Mr. Jeremiah Norbert is not present yet? The House still moves on.
Yeah.
So these are things that the I guess in the oration of the judge would speak on.
But those matters, those matters I think should be fast tracked.
Fast tracked.
Yeah.
That is not something that after having heard a matter for over a year, it's over a year that matter has been heard, and there's not a judgment yet. This is ridiculous. It's beyond ridiculous. So I just want to commend the member for Supra. I think he did a good job. He had absolutely no make-way in his presentation. He just focused on the issue at hand. I compared that to Ms. Joai. Ms. Joai was very good. I think she did a very good job explaining what she wanted to explain. But I felt she sort of crossed the line when she essentially made a judgment already as if the special prosecutor had already spoken about certain individuals. I think that was a little dangerous if you mentioning, X person has this, and it's as if, yes, that person has already committed a crime. So when we are...
But yet still they continue to say these are allegations, these are allegations.
Right.
Because
so everybody is free. They have that sort of leeway in the House, and I think that can be very problematic because we, as the normal citizenry, are listening and we make judgments and we come to conclusions based on that.
They should be revisited, this whole parliamentary privilege issue, that should be revisited. It does not make sense. You accuse a guy of being a thief, a robber, a rape, etc. In Parliament, then you say you want to you could easily say, well, let's take him to the Parliamentary Privilege Committee, etc., etc. But the damage has been done in the eyes of those people who are watching the broadcast on NTN and watching on social media. The damage has been done.
And
does
really,
not make sense.
The punishment from the punishment there is a lot different than the punishment in court.
Mm-hmm.
But more so, They would say it there, and they would cut nicely when they're out of the house.
Yeah.
This one will say, well, I never said it was this amount of time, and that one will say, I never said it was 3 days, and that one will say, it's so ridiculous on both sides sometimes that it's annoying because you've already had your section fly by with the narrative, and they're going on with it. And you know it may not be true, or you know sometimes it's not true. So I think we need to have that higher standard. And if we revisit it, we can raise the bar to have even a higher level of standard of discourse, right? Which is where we need to go. We need to progress to improve that discourse, to improve how politicians are acting, so that we can have, I think, of course, better discourse there, better laws coming about as a result of that. But that's my contribution. I loved how he brought his point across.
Okay, thank you so much. But there's so much at stake. There's still all the talk about special prosecutor and fighting crime and all that. Why do you think those politicians are fighting in the parliament? Verbally, at least for the time being. They're not doing like the parliamentarians in other jurisdictions. It is because of what is at stake. They're fighting over position. They're fighting over influence. They're fighting over contracts. Sometimes I get the impression there's some individuals, if they're not in certain positions of power, then life doesn't mean much to them. They must be in power. They must be called bossman, etc., to feel okay, to feel comfortable. For that to sit well as far as their mental health is concerned. And no matter what, call me a pessimist on this occasion. Special prosecutor, special persecutor, whatever you want to put there, somehow politicians will still abuse their office. Somehow politicians will still find some method, some mechanism whereby they will abuse their office. And let us not focus on only one set of politicians. The same way we like to say, this guy is a liar, and focus on only this individual. He's a matter, he's a liar, he's a liar. What about other politicians? All right, what's the message? Somebody says there, as the leader of the opposition made the documents alleging the joint, whatever, the claim against Dr. Hilaire public, this is a very serious allegation. The leader of the opposition also implied that other people were involved. And so I went to the website of HTS and extracted a clip there of the Speaker of the House, Claudius Francis, saying that he did receive something from the leader of the opposition, and he contextualized it because he was saying he found it very strange that a matter such as presenting what the leader of the opposition believed to be evidence to prove that he was correct in the claim that he was making would have been disclosed to the media, in terms of the leader of the opposition disclosing to the media that he had already forwarded the material to the Speaker of the House.
I was surprised at the public disclosure of documents having been sent to me, for among other reasons, the fact that the Speaker clearly cannot respond definitively one way or the other to the press about any such document sent to him. To go further to say that they support the allegation is even more remarkable, as that would be a determination by the Speaker after having reviewed the documents. That having been made public, I can confirm, having received documentation from the member from Miku South, I cannot make a public pronouncement on whether or not the documents received by me in any form or fashion support what the member said in the House of Assembly.
We just heard there and heard from the Speaker of the House, Mr. Claudius Francis. This clip is courtesy HTS News. All right, more of your calls, 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. Somebody says there, it is so disturbing to see that ordinary citizens are left to interpret and give opinions on so many legal issues when there are so many legal minds in St. Lucia. Some are actually funded by taxpayers through scholarships. A democracy suffers when certain people are allowed to manipulate and or violate the laws of the state unchallenged. Let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. Okay, let's see there. Somebody says there, Tim, there was a breaking at the stadium car park on the east wing side. They broke into a car, stole 2 bags with cash, medication, laptop, and all driver's license, ID, and so on. Shaking my head. All right, let's see if we have more of your messages. Somebody says there, Tim, why is the minister telling people to hold on to renew our passport office if they don't need to travel? Is she aware that people need passports as a form of ID? Tell her to quickly go change that. Banks ask for just one form of ID to open an account. So we don't only need passports to travel. Shaking my head. Fool. Okay, I don't read the other one. The other part. Good afternoon, NewsSpin. You are on the air.
Yeah, good afternoon, Tim. How you doing?
Hi, good afternoon to you, Hyper.
Yeah, not too bad. Tim, sometimes, these people, I don't know, I don't think, or I must say that this is amazing. I saw 4 senators, they gave some kind of collective respond, towards the killing of the lady in Swaziland. I don't know if you saw that clip.
Yeah, we focused on it on NewsSpin, sir.
Beg your pardon?
Yeah, we did speak on it on NewsSpin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I just really want to say, one of the things I want to say is that, these people are people who's within the Senate and they normally support laws, and I know they don't have the power to return a bill that is financial back to the lower house. But then, don't you think it's a bit like cherry picking? I mean, we had 2 incidents in Saltiba some time ago where 2 sisters were killed, just months apart. I didn't see nothing like that in terms of it coming out and giving that kind of speech and so on. But all of a sudden now, because it hit home in their opinion, and the lady was, one of the words that was pushed forward all the time is, she's an avid supporter of the Labour Party. She accommodated them to allow them to use her premises, and as a result, they have to come in this show of supporters and so on. Nothing wrong with their support, Tim. What I'm just saying is, why don't people who are in office, people who have this sort of position, take a general stand against crime? And they seem to be saying as if, crime targeted against women. That's not true. We have crime there against young people, old people, middle-aged people. Mm-hmm. All kind of people are suffering with the situation of crime. A lot of people, young, old, middle-aged, male, female, are victims of criminal activity in the country. The criminal activity in the country is all around the country, everywhere you turn. Every part of St. Lucia is not, spared when it comes to criminal activity in the country. So to try to make it look like it's a one-gender thing and it's women targeted. I'm agreeing with some people that you're not hearing their voices some time ago. They wanted to give children and women a voice. Now they're in cushy jobs and you're not hearing from them again. Okay, we know that's the norm. Once you talk the talk at the time when a particular government is in administration, some of them, that's what they're looking for. Then they get their jobs and they're quiet. They were not genuinely representing and doing the work of the people. But these 4 senators, I just really want to tell them, please, don't treat us like that. The crime is affecting the country generally, not the Labour Party people or UW people or SLP people. It's It's a disease. It's a plague. It's like like what we're suffering with the coronavirus, like a pandemic. We have a crime pandemic in the country, and our Commissioner of Police is crying Mayday, SOS. We need regional assistance. We need international assistance. As if to say, the Prime Minister said to him that SRSS probably we thought would be some part of the solution. Apparently, the Commissioner of Police is sending us a signal that they are insufficient. They will not suffice in terms of helping us solve the situation of crime in our country. But I don't want people, to curry favor as if, because it hit home for a particular group of people, that's when they're coming out and talk. They need to take a stand against crime generally in the country. That's the way we could solve crime here. And they didn't even give any solutions as to how they're encouraging law enforcement to deal with crime or to do anything to see how we can minimize the incidence of crime in the country. They're just talking it's just some platitude. Thank you very much.
Okay, good, caller. Thank you so much. We have a WhatsApp call as we say hello and good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. Good afternoon, caller. You on the air?
How are you?
I'm okay, ma'am. Good afternoon to you.
Tim, I tuned in late. What did the clip you played by the speaker? What was he saying? I didn't hear it.
Well,
Sorry about that.
In a nutshell, he received some material from the leader of the opposition pertaining to the allegation that Mr. Alan Shastney made against Dr. Ernest Dele in the Parliament earlier this week. And he's not in a position right now to make any ruling on it, any pronouncement on it. But he received documentation from Mr. Alan Shastney.
I hope they make these documents public, because that's our business. Tim, you don't agree?
Yes, they should. Not make it public only, but we need to hear from the Speaker of the House. Now it's his turn to speak on this particular matter after he's perused the documents.
Let's wait to hear.
Yeah.
Because I saw a post on Facebook and it had me a bit disturbed. I will send it to you.
Yeah, but let's not make any pronouncement, pass any judgment on this.
Any pronouncements, Tim.
Let's wait.
I just said let's wait and see.
Right.
Let's see what is happening. And I hope something comes out of that. If the leader of the opposition has the documents that he produces authentic and it's damaging, something's supposed to happen. If it's not in the same way, something's supposed to happen. Somebody needs to be accountable.
Yeah.
So let's wait to see. Because already in St. Lucia, nothing happens, huh?
We hope the wait will not be forever.
Crime, and they'll drag us before the courts, eh? Oh, me and you.
We hope the wait will not be forever.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope so too. Before it get me bossy.
Okay. Okay, caller. All right. Thank you so much. Coming up, a section of a well-known highway to be named after one's formidable politician. All that more coming up on Power 97.9 FM, as well as our NewsSpin Facebook page and YouTube.
Exceeding your expectations is what we strive for at Lazarus Funeral Home. Losing a loved one isn't something you can foresee. Since the beginning, affordability has been one of our priorities. Every day we're proving that burials don't have to be expensive. If cost is a factor in your time of bereavement, call Lazarus Funeral Home. We have coffins starting at $800 plus taxes. Nothing can cause more disappointment than poor quality. Help us help you keep your last memory of your loved one sacred. Make it special. Make it Lazarus Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Located at Bibliotheque Castries at 452-7491 and New Dock Road V4 at 454-6555.
Contact Lucelec before trimming or cutting down trees that are near overhead electrical wires. Watch out for power lines before you begin working on a ladder. Be sure that ladders or scaffolds are far enough away so that you and the ends of the tools you're using don't come within 10 feet of power lines. And never use any electrical appliance in wet surrounding outdoors or in the rain.
This message is brought to you by Lucelec, the power of caring.
Born from the same soil, growing stronger.
Raised of our own sweat and toil, doing it together.
Our bank for you and me. the best of who we are. First National Bank, together we'll go far. The pride of St. Lucia, here to stay.
Growing up, growing stronger, it's a First National way.
Oh, yeah. Every day we're making better, faster and smarter, convenience like no other. First National Bank, the best of who we are. First National Bank, together we'll go far.
We'll go far. For decades every day, it's clear, it's true.
First National Bank, we're here for you.
And joining the broadcast is Mr. Egbert Lucien. He is the mayor of Gros-Islet. We have him online at this point in time to speak about a particular development. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Mayor. How are you?
Good afternoon to you, Tim.
Hi, Mr. Lucien.
I am fine.
Okay. Mr. Lucien, coming up on Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m., you're getting all set for a particular activity. What is this all about?
Okay, we have the renaming of the Castries Gros-Islet Highway. Henceforth, it's going to be called the Sir Julian R. Hunt Highway. So we have a ceremony honoring Mr. Hunt on that occasion.
And the ceremony starts at what time and where?
It starts at 4 o'clock, just in the area of the roundabout, nearer to the supermarket there.
Okay. What is the significance of naming that the Castries Gros-Islet Highway after Sir Julian R. Hunt, who served as the MP for Gros-Islet from 1987 up until when he was the leader of the opposition in 1996, 97?
Well, by any measure, Sir Julian Hunt is an eminent St. Lucian, and he has contributed immensely to this country. In fact, I feel privileged to be honoring him on this occasion. I feel it's a real privilege to me. I've had a very good relationship with Mr. Hunt over the years. You know that he has served St. Lucia in various capacities and the region as well. Of course, he also was the president of the United Nations General Assembly. And so he definitely, by any measure, is an eminent St. Lucia, and I think it's fitting that we honor him in such a way, and I do feel very good about it.
Okay. How did this whole thing start? Who proposed it? Who suggested that this highway should be named after Sir Julian R. Hunt?
Well, it came from I don't know where the first spark was lit, but then it did come from the Cabinet of Ministers, and then it was put through to us. We've been brought in on this, and it is a tremendous honor for us. Having been associated with Mr. Hunt for that long, I've known how he's been involved in very, very intimate ways in the lives of the people in this place. He's been a very helpful person. He's helped people at various levels. He's been a very good community servant, and I think it's just fitting that the highway is named after him. And I'm very happy to be associated with that.
As far as you are aware, how does Mr. Sir Julian Hunt feel about this?
Well, I spoke with him, and I think he feels gratified. I think he does. Yes.
Okay.
I spoke with him. He's happy for that.
Okay. The people of Gros-Islet, how they feel about it as well, in your interaction with them?
Mr. Hunt is a well-loved person in Gros-Islet, and I think most people in Gros-Islet would be very happy that Mr. Hunt is honored in that way.
Final comments from you, Mr. Mayor?
I just want to say that I think this is a very deserving honor. I've known Mr. Hunt for quite a while. We've had a very good relationship. It was something of a kind of avuncular kind of relationship with regard for me. And I've seen the way he has interacted with people in the community, the way he's been involved in their lives in a very meaningful way. I am very, very happy to be associated with that, and I would encourage other St. Lucians to be happy for that this is happening. It is one of the most deserving honors that I've seen recently.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for agreeing to speak with us on NewsSpin, Mr. Mayor.
You're welcome, sir.
All right, okay. You just heard there from the mayor of Grosile, Mr. Egbert Lucian, after the ceremony on a Sunday from 4 o'clock. What is known now as the Castries Grosile Highway will be known as the Sir Julian R. Hunt Highway. And I'm sure that many of you watching this broadcast listening, who is Mr. Hunt? You'll be hearing from him in just a moment via some comment that he made in June of 2014 in his capacity as the chairman of the St. Lucia Labour Party. But first, Sir Julian R. Hunt, born March 14th, 1940 in Castries, was the Minister of Foreign Affairs of St. Lucia from April 2001 to October 26, 2004, when he was succeeded by Petrus Compton. He served as the permanent representative or ambassador for St. Lucia to the UN, and also he was the president of the UN General Assembly during its 58th regular session, 2003 to 2004. He was awarded the Order of the British Empire in recognition of service to the government and people of St. Lucia in 1979. The St. Lucia Cross for Distinguished and Outstanding Service. Pope John Paul II conferred the papal honor of Knight of the Grand Cross Paean on him in September 2004. Entered politics in 1967, serving as a councillor and then as the mayor of Castries from 1970 and 1971. He joined the SLP in 1978 and became the leader of the party in 1984. He was elected to the House of Assembly in 1987 and was leader of the opposition until 1996, when he was replaced controversially by Dr. Kenny Anthony. And in 2001, he was appointed to the Senate of St. Lucia and was invited by the Prime Minister to join the cabinet that same year as Minister with responsibility for foreign affairs. And he stood for elections in the constituency of Grosile in the general election of December the 11th, 2006, but he lost to Leonard Spider Motut of the United Workers' Party. So it was in June of 2014, I think at the time, the St. Lucia Labour Party administration was proposing a reduction in salary, a proposed cut in salary by 5% for public sector workers. That's amid fiscal concerns. And this is some of the reaction or some of the comments, observation made by Sir Julian R. Hunt then in June of 2014 during a DBS television news story.
Bigger picture is, what do we do with the economy? So that, as I said, there are those who felt that he should have had consultations before. There are those who agree with what he has done. But I note that, but then let us look at the big picture, because we can go on ad infinitum as to whether it should have been before or after, how it should be done. These things usually pan out that way. But it is the situation in which the country finds itself financially.
You just heard there and saw Sir Julian R. Hunt, and he is just about to receive a major recognition for his contribution in various capacity to St. Lucia, the region, and indeed the rest of the world, and that is on Sunday, naming the Castries Grosile Highway after Sir Julian R. Hunt. Let's take your calls on this and other matters. 452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. By the way, Sir Julian R. Hunt is the father of Christopher Hunt. We have a call via WhatsApp as we say hello and good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Good afternoon to you, caller.
Good afternoon to you, Tim.
Good afternoon. Talk to me, sir.
Yeah, I don't mind the naming of the John Compton Highway to Julian R. Hunt. But to me, the Grosile Road should be completed and then name it. It would look more official with the completion of that road project. Wouldn't you support me on that, Tim?
150,000%, sir. But I also heard that the authorities are looking forward to commence work on the Rodney Bay project, Rodney Bay Road project, very soon. But that's a good observation you're making.
How soon is it that the Sunday they would be naming the road after him the Sunday?
This Sunday, yes, at just after 4 o'clock, after the ceremony.
Well, they should reconsider and complete the project and then name it after him. It would look more official. Thank you very much.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for sharing your point of view with us. 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages at 716-2026. We have a call line. Hello, good afternoon. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air.
Good afternoon, Timothy.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
What I heard about the recognition they're going to give to Julian Alhan, that's very nice. But what I don't want to accept, and I have said that many times, we don't have no highway in St. Lucia. You cannot have a highway where you have so many intersections and call that a highway. I have said that many times. We don't have a highway in St. Lucia. The road to Soufre is more like a highway than the road to Cassis Gosili. So many interjections in the road, and we don't have a highway. Let's say the main road from Cassis to Gosili. There is no highway in St. Lucia. Okay, thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for your point of view. We continue to await your calls once again at 452-2979, 452-2979, along with your WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. All right, let me see if I have a WhatsApp message to go through this time. Somebody says that Tim Trump can never live a less controversial life because that's what he courted throughout his campaign from 2016 to now. In the same way, this current Labour Party will never have a smooth term because that's what they courted had they have brought into this current Labour Party. This is definitely not the Labour Party of George F.L. Charles, also Julian R. Hunt. The saying is so true. You always reap what you sow. Good afternoon, NewsSpin. You are on the air. Hello.
Good afternoon, Tim.
Hi.
Good afternoon, Tim.
Good afternoon to you, caller.
Yeah, Tim, I have no problem. Yes, Miss Tim. Tim, I have no problem with some Julian Hanan. I have no problem with naming that highway. Well, it's not John Compton Highway. I heard somebody said John Compton Highway. It's not.
No,
John
it's not.
Compton Highway still stands.
Yes, it still stands.
Right?
It does.
It's the Gozed Highway. That will be from what?
From the shock roundabout.
Yeah, from the shock roundabout. So the
Yeah.
person is wrong saying John Compton Highway. John Compton, they're still there. Rightly deserve it, right?
Yeah.
We can change that. Yes. But Tim, from the time the Labour Party got into office, I was hoping, Tim, hear me well. I was hoping that they would make Julian Hahn Governor General. That was what I was expecting. Yeah, that's what I was expecting for them to give Julian Hahn Governor General. That would be a more deserving and payable recognition, you know. Naming a road after somebody, there is nothing common in that. I'd rather than making Governor General. That's what you'd be. Julian Hahn to be a good Governor General.
Caller, I think from what I'm hearing, I think that they were giving consideration to this.
Hello?
From what I'm hearing, they were giving consideration to appointing him Governor General, but certain issues would have prevented that from happening.
Well, I did not want consideration. I wanted them to name him acting and then confirm him. I think that I would appreciate for Julian Hunt. I would appreciate that for him better than that road, because I don't think nothing, just a road named after you. Everybody's abusing it and dying on it, you know, and things like that, you know. So, yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate. Somebody says the question, how much will this naming ceremony cost? The Malawians need some money. All right, let's see. And that's coming from the chat room. Let's see if we have any comments in the chat room to go through. Just bear with me while we try to go some of those comments at this time. Okay. All right, lots of comments there. Somebody says that they should call Grosley Main Road the high traffic way. All right, let's see. Any more of your comments there? Let me see if I have a WhatsApp message to go through while we are awaiting your calls once again at 452-2979. That's 452-2979. Let me turn my attention now to our NewsSpin news of the day. Kangaroo. That's the NewsSpin news of the day. We'll put it on screen. Kangaroo caught red-handed trying to break into Australia's Russian embassy. Only NewsSpin. Our NewsSpin news of the day. Kangaroo caught red-handed trying to break into Australia's Russian embassy. So this kangaroo, I think, is from Ukraine. Let's take a call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air.
Good afternoon.
Hi. Good afternoon to you, caller.
From the Babono area, and I heard Tim made a comment about a woman that was probably attacked on the Babono Road while walking this morning.
In a section of Babono. I don't know exactly where, but in a section of Babono, sir.
Yeah, but what happened to her really? I really want to know what
it occurred.
happened.
All right, it occurred after 7 o'clock this morning. A female was walking when two males accosted her, and they stole money from her. And
you know what section of Babono?
I don't know exactly, caller. Maybe the person, my source, will send me that information. But
because
the two men,
my wife walking that Babono Road, and I want to know where it happened, so we can be careful.
Okay.
Where we go.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much. I'll try to get find the exact location so where this incident occurred this morning.
Thank you very much, Tim.
Okay. Thank you so much for calling, sir. But according to my source, this incident occurred in a section of Babono. So here's hoping I'll be able to get some clarification before we conclude the broadcast. We have a caller. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Yes, good afternoon, Tim. How are you doing?
I'm okay, caller.
I want to support Iper in his pronouncement that he made or with the king that he made some time ago, earlier on today. Because there were two young ladies killed in the Marshall area, one by the thing there, one on the hill, one in a drive-by, one and everything. And you never heard none of them parliamentarians came out to say anything about it. But now one of theirs, like they really said one of theirs was killed, and everybody in solidarity. So what happened to the young people that have passed? Where are the ladies, where are the silly people that just come in and talk about, the last time they said they didn't tell you anything, right? Didn't actually tell you? Nobody called her. But she made a pronouncement on the one that was killed. Are you there, Smith?
I'm listening to you, sir, yeah.
Yeah, so at least, you know, we as a solution, as a society, you know, we have to be, how to say, we have to really be there for everybody, not for one set of people. It's like if you're a small man, you have no space. It's only when you have names, it happens. And when it is home, you have people. This solidarity thing in the parliament with the lower house or upper house with these ladies there, these senators, make no sense to me. Because they had two from Suzel who got killed. There was one from Suzel who got killed. They had two in Marshall that got killed. There was nothing from there. Am I right or wrong?
We did not hear anything from them, but maybe they got the opportunity now to speak primarily, and in terms of speaking to the media, primarily because this incident coincided with a sitting of the Senate this week. But I think what it went wrong is when one of the senators, government senators, said that this lady, Diana Theodore, used to hold meetings at her home, etc., etc. Obviously, that will turn off some people who are not supporters of the SLP.
Well, that's what ticked me. That is what ticked me. Because they used to hold meetings at their home. She's close to the SLP and whatnot. That's what ticked me. If they had just come in solidarity with what is happening and the murders and the killings and whatnot, yes, we say, okay, now they're standing up first. But to say, because they used to hold meetings at their place, says to me that it's because it's one of us leaking out.
And it might not be so at all.
It's left for us to think of it. It's left for us now
Yeah.
to wonder what's going on.
I agree.
They left the door open.
Mm-hmm. And,
So now they have to
and knowing you, you will just enter.
You know me well. Okay.
Okay, caller. Thank you. Somebody says that she should never have made that statement about the unfortunate killing of the lady. And that is extracted from the famous NewsSpin chat room. Let's see if we have another comment there. Somebody says that government still campaigning. People broke, hungry, thirsty, unsolved crimes, unemployment, tourist arrivals down all over the Caribbean market, vendors crying, supermarket prices skyrocketing, and we're still politicking. All right, we have a call. Good afternoon. Thanks for holding on. NewsSpin, you're on the air.
Mr. Poleon.
Hi, good afternoon to you, Rick Wayne.
Yes, sir. Do you ever get the impression that the politicians are having a big laugh at the rest of us?
Yes, they are. I think so.
Including their most rabid followers,
Mhm.
as well as the detractors?
Yeah.
That the politicians collectively are having a laugh at our expense?
Yes.
I am an ordinary guy, man in the street, no one can call you with these kinds of concerns and be so articulate about them. You think the politicians have not given thought to that?
They have.
You think our courts, the magistrates in their person and the judges and whatnot, they hear everything going on. They listen to the shows, Tim. They are au courant with the complaints and concerns of the citizenry as the citizenry themselves.
Because they ought to be, Rick.
Well, forget that ought. They
No,
are.
I'm just saying they are. They are, yes, because they ought to be, yeah.
They should be, but they are. And I suspect they're just laughing. They don't care. They're taking care of business. That's what's going on here because, like I told you yesterday, and by the way, this is not recent. The politicians in this country, and I go back well enough to know that, have an attitude change. That's why they couldn't handle me when I was really, before I retired. You know.
Don't let Junior hear you when you see before you retire.
I know. You know that is really common.
Right.
Their attitude is, let me put it that way, let the dogs bark, or the barking dogs don't bite. Let the dogs sleep. That is the attitude, Tim.
Yeah.
Because they know you will talk about it at the most a couple of days. They might even suffer a little discomfort of it for a couple of days. And especially at a time when we don't know how to talk to a villain, how to look at a villain, whether we should kiss his butt, villainy or not, because tomorrow he might be St. Joseph. And what are you going to do then? What are you going to do then? Tim, there's a concern that I've had before, written about it before. I don't know if you realize that the televising of parliamentary sittings in the UK are governed by particular rules. That they have a certain company that does the televising and has been with them for the longest while.
Mm-hmm.
That there are rules as to how long the camera should stay on whom in the house, how long the camera should stay on the public chamber, how long how high the camera should frame somebody speaking, somebody an MP talking. There are a whole bunch of rules. Plus, of course, there is the matter of certain things that are not to be broadcast. Someone live sessions of the house,
Mm-hmm.
and they know in advance to cut off the cameras or whatever else they do so that doesn't go out. All these are within the rules of the televising and broadcasting of live parliamentary debates. To the best of my knowledge, Tim, we woke up one day to find speakers outside the walls of Parliament. And we were told they were put there for the benefit of the guys in Constitution Park. Now, when you think about that, you actually have to ask yourself, did I really live through this comedy? That you're going to put speakers outside the house for the benefit of guys in Constitution Park? And it wasn't the Constitution Park we know now, you know.
Yeah.
At the time, it was solely a place for bombs. You know that. So those people could not go into the parliament, which is 1 minute walk from the park then. But that moved on to television, and it moved on to the internet, it moved on to Facebook, it meant live broadcasts going out live, and more than that, even while the parliamentary session is in progress, there are personnel, I want to call them, who are taking clips to quickly put on and sometimes edit so it can go out on the internet. Are you familiar with what I'm talking about?
Yeah. You're talking about certain supporters of the parties and so on?
Yeah.
Yes.
So even while that thing is going on live and going to all kind of homes everywhere in England and everywhere.
Almost in real time. Almost in real time they put it on.
Where people are watching this with no background information, nothing at all. And then you have clips, like you showed a number of them. I get a number of them on my phone as well, or they're on Facebook, clips that party supporters are putting out on both sides.
Yes.
Now, what does that do to the privileges of the House? We have no laws, to the best of my knowledge. We have no laws governing the broadcasting live on television of our parliamentary session. None. Nobody's talking about that since.
Well, everything goes according to whatever statement somebody makes.
That happens now. You are not supposed to call names of people who are not part of the parliamentary horseshoe. You're not supposed to talk even about them in any way recognizable. But you hear people's names being called left, right, and center in the House, and those calling out names, there's no requirement for proof because the guy who has been spat on has no defense, right?
Yeah.
He's not even there. Meanwhile, his name is going around all over the world as a crook, as a rapist, as a whatever.
And nothing
the guy
is
has no
and nothing is censored. And nothing is censored.
Nothing is censored. And not even the standing rules are really adhered to. Because you cannot talk about your personal affairs in the House. You can't do that. Okay? So, that is what we have, Tim. So, everything, and the House is supposed to be the symbol of the highest office in the land. The highest office in the land. So if it starts there, what next? What next? When I asked you yesterday, tell me one institution that is working halfway according to how it's expected to work.
I think that was on Wednesday you asked that question.
I've asked many other people since then, and they can't tell me either.
Yeah, there isn't any.
Now we have a very interesting situation. A case that is before the courts was being discussed in detail in the House this week.
That is a matter between what the reference being made to the accounts and so on. The Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister.
Now the Speaker now is supposed to rule as to whether evidence of some supportive of what was said is sufficient, is
legitimate,
corroborative, etc. He is to do that. Now that particular matter is a part of the court case going on. So whatever ruling the Speaker might come up with has to have impact on the case. No?
Yes, it ought to.
In the days of Sinclair Daniel would warn whoever is talking, this is a matter before the courts at this time, and I advise you to tread carefully. I know the word by heart. And the minute you step out of line, he would stop you. Peter Foster, in his first thing, stopped Richard on something Richard was saying as well, and said to him, this is a matter before the court. Stopped it as well. In this instance, we see how far that went, and now it is the job of the Speaker to determine evidence, to determine the quality of evidence. The Speaker of the House. Another thing that bothers me about the House again, we had it with Andy Daniel, and I wrote about that. As far as I know, the Bible of the House, the manual that runs the House, is the standing rules and orders. So if anything is to be objected to, we will put the standing rules and orders, section this and section that. Even if you are a lawyer, you are not expected to act as if you're in a court and start quoting this case and that precedent, Because if you are going to be a lawyer in the House, then I will have to have my lawyer too, no?
Yes.
You see how ridiculous that is? You see how silly that is? If one guy is going to be a lawyer and quoting cases, I am not a lawyer. I can't quote cases. I can't even argue with him on that. So I would need to have a lawyer to challenge what he's saying there. But then the Sinclair Daniel took care of that by simply stopping it. He will have no discussion of any matter before the court. Thank you, Tim.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. We had a caller earlier on who was requesting the exact location this incident occurred, where a woman was robbed in a section of Babonneau today. So my source is saying that it occurred at Hill 20. Okay, so the exact location is Hill 20. And now the civil servant refrain. Let's listen to this. The civil servant refrain. Please take note. Public sector workers.
Civil servants shall strive to maintain a high standard of healthy communities. Civil servants must abide by all rules and policies of the department and programs of their duties.
Right. Civil servant refrain. That's a broadcast. Thank you so much for watching and listening to another edition of NewsSpin for this week, right here on the Power 97.9 FM, as well as on YouTube and our NewsSpin Facebook page. Be safe. Have yourself an enjoyable weekend as well. And you could join us, God willing, on Monday, 12:30, with another edition of NewsSpin. Goodbye.